This is a presentation from the Supernaut Network.
Welcome. It's that time again. Time for another episode of Resist or Serve, the limited event series podcast here at the supernauts.com. This is IAB, still recuperating from turning the clocks to daylight savings. And as my co-conspirator here is Mr. Puck Propaganda.
Hello, people. I went through daylight savings time too, and it was not fun because the kid doesn't realize he's supposed to sleep an extra hour, so now he's getting up an hour earlier.
Yeah, as I understand, some people have that problem with pets too.
Yeah. That's probably not so bad. At least you can lock them up in some other room or something.
Yeah, that's
Child, not so much.
Yeah. So we're kind of we're past the half point in this in our retrospective of the previous seasons already. How the time flies. It's time for season 6 already.
Yeah. Yeah, we're going pretty good. Not too bad.
We might actually make our deadline of finishing this before the new episodes start to air.
Yeah, I wouldn't put too much money on that yet. I'm notoriously behind on deadline type stuff, so I do have you to keep me in check though, so maybe we'll get there.
Yeah. Well, then there's also that goddamn Christmas here pretty soon.
Yeah, Christmas is awesome though. All you Christmas haters suck.
Well, we just agree to disagree on that one.
Okay.
But yeah, first order of business, some X-Files news, if any. I don't have anything, but you had something, I believe.
Yeah, so there wasn't much between our last show and this one really, other than a very recent kind of hot off the press news, I guess, that came on down only in the last day or two. Basically, there are two new agents in the revival show called Agent Miller and Agent Einstein, played by Robbie Amell and Lauren Ambrose, respectively. And there are rumors that they may be setting them up to take over the series as sort of a spin-off without the involvement of Duchovny and Anderson. Which is fucking stupid.
Yeah. I don't. I hope this is some kind of a bogus rumor.
Yeah. Hopefully it's a stupid rumor. I mean, I'm okay with a spin-off, and I'll get to that in a minute. But not this way. As for the two actors or the actor and actress involved, I really have no idea who Amell is, other than he's Canadian apparently, and that's cool. But apparently he was also in an episode of Pretty Little Liars, so he's a terrible person. And Lauren Ambrose, I've definitely heard of her, but I can't recall seeing her or anything. I know she was in 6 Feet Under.
Yeah, that's the only thing I've probably seen where she's.
Yeah, so I've never watched 6 Feet Under, so I have no idea how good of an actress she is or anything as well, but she's cute anyway, so that works, I guess.
Kind of interesting. Another redhead.
Yes, that's true. But yeah, as for them taking over X-Files and being a spin-off, it's just dumb because, I mean, I've outlined on fucking Supernauts and elsewhere numerous times my idea of a spin-off, and I mean, if they didn't go that route, I just don't think there's any point. Obviously, you go back to the son that Scully had,
Well, yeah.
and
Yeah.
you go from there. He would be grown up, and he's trying to figure out, well, what happened? Like, what happened to his mom? What happened to Mulder? And they would start off as missing, and that way you could have cameos of Mulder and Scully and all that kind of stuff later on, and they wouldn't have to be tied into the series a lot. But at least you'd be able to then continue storylines and concepts and everything from the same, I guess, overall mythology.
Yeah.
Which I guess you could technically do that with new characters as well, but no one's going to care about new characters being involved in a old storyline.
Yeah, and we will see in a few episodes how that goes when they tried that.
Yep. But oh well, that's it for news. Hopefully it's just a dumb rumor.
Yeah, me too. So let's get to season 6.
Sunday. Trust no one.
Hello? Hello?
This season, the end is the beginning.
I told you it was here.
The X-Files. The new season begins Sunday on Fox.
Mythology. Yeah, well, one little point at first, the first season to be filmed in Los Angeles with a largely new crew, but like you said last time, that doesn't really show stylistically. I mean, they do keep that old kind of visual style pretty much consistent.
Yeah, there are a couple, I guess, what you might call sunnier episodes. But I mean, stylistically, it's nothing to complain about, despite the fact that people did complain back when it happened. But yeah, I really don't notice it much at all.
No. If
people complaining about something for no reason, really.
No, if anything, I think that this move to Los Angeles kind of shows a bit in production value. I mean, some of the episodes look kind of, how should I say, bigger than what we've seen before, or maybe they just had a bigger budget after the movie. I don't know.
Yeah, I think probably it's just in variety and ease of access to sets that are used for other things, that sort of thing. Like, for instance, the episode they filmed on the ship, they would have had no access to something like that really in Canada, in Vancouver.
Unless it's some kind of a trawler.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah. So yeah, easier access to a lot of things for the production, definitely.
And obviously there's probably much bigger studio facilities in Los Angeles as well, so.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
But yeah, the mythology, well, in the first episode, we kind of start where we were left off at the end of the movie, Fight the Future. And the Syndicate is kind of still in the middle of cleaning up its tracks, because there is still one infected technician who gives birth in an extremely gruesome way, gives birth to an alien creature at his home. And this creature seeks refuge in a nearby nuclear power plant. At the same time, the cigarette-smoking man is using Gibson Praise, the mind reader / chess progeny, to find this alien. And of course, Mulder and Scully are also on the trail. And so everybody kind of ends up in this nuclear power plant at the end, where the creature actually kills an overweight nuclear technician named Homer, which was kind of nice little jab at the Simpsons there.
Yeah.
And well, long story short, the henchman of the cigarette-smoking man is killed. Well, killed. I mean, he's ripped to shreds by this alien, and Mulder and Scully are kind of escorted out. And, well, Gibson is left with this alien, which then kind of sheds its skin from this predatory-looking creature into the more traditional gray creature. So we're kind of seeing the alien life cycle a little bit there.
Yeah, I like that. That was really cool, because I guess based on the movie, you'd kind of assume these are a different race of aliens.
Yeah, they just seem to have various stages. I guess youth stage is the more wilder, beast-like creature.
Yeah, so that was really cool.
But yeah, Gibson is left with this alien, and well, I suspect there would be a kind of Mac and Me style adventure with Gibson and the alien, kind of between the regular episodes there.
Yeah, there's a spin-off. That should have been a spin-off.
Yeah. But yeah, the result is that while the X-Files are now reopened, Mulder and Scully are taking off the case, and the files are given to Spender and Fowley. Where, well, Spender's job is mostly to not do anything, because by now he's kind of working under his father's orders, the cigarette-smoking man, to kind of delay everything.
Yep, and Fowley's kind of trying to help Mulder keep an eye on them, more or less, at least in the beginning.
And we're also introduced to Scully and Mulder's new boss, Assistant Director Alvin Kirsch, played by James Pickens Jr., who is pretty much just looking for an excuse to kick them off the FBI.
Yep.
and is also constantly whining about their travel expenses and whatnot.
Yep. Yeah, very true. They're racking up that travel budget for sure.
Yeah. Well, it's a nice kind of callback to the movie where they had to go to Antarctica. So.
Yeah.
This has got to be the biggest travel expense check I have ever seen in the FBI history or something. But yeah, anyway, so then we get the return of Crytek once more. Well, where Crytek infects Skinner with this kind of nanotechnology virus, which he has kind of a trigger mechanism for. So Crytek essentially makes Skinner his puppet, and he shows to Skinner that he can kill him at any point by just pushing a button. So Skinner is kind of reduced to being the Syndicate's puppy dog again.
Yeah, he's kind of made a double agent again, which is sort of foreshadowed by another episode, but we'll talk about that later as well.
Yeah. Then there's the big mid-season two-parter episode, Two Fathers, One Son, where the game changes, quite largely so. First of all, Cassandra Spender is returned from her abduction. It turns out that she's the first fully successful alien-human hybrid that the Syndicate has made, and this would, of course, mark the start of the colonization by the aliens. But the Syndicate is kind of not wanting this because they still have to have the vaccine in development in secret. And they order the termination of Cassandra, but, well, of course, the cigarette-smoking man doesn't want to do this because, well, she's his ex-wife and the mother of his son. And meanwhile, cigarette-smoking man is trying to recruit Spender to kind of, or how should I say, reveal all the secrets of the conspiracy to his son. But, well, kind of unexpected turn there when Jeffrey Spender turns against his father. I mean, so far we were kind of left to believe that he would do anything the old man says.
Yeah. Yeah, I really like this two-parter. It's probably one of the best mythology episodes, or I guess batch of episodes for the two of them in the series, really.
Yeah.
Because it not only reveals a lot of stuff, it successfully closes off a few things as well.
Well, it closes off quite a large thing, actually, when the Syndicate is finally assassinated by the faceless rebels, therefore kind of ending this story arc that started with the first episode of the series. Yep,
that's the big thing, yeah. And yeah, that's really, really well done.
Yeah, I mean, the only persons to be saved are cigarette-smoking man and Fowley, and of course Crytek.
Yes.
I mean, Crytek is
Crytek always finds a way.
yeah, he's kind of the Energizer Bunny. I mean, you can't kill him off. He always turns up somewhere.
Yep.
But so then the mythology kind of takes a turn in the end of the season, where kind of fragments, ancient artifacts of a crashed UFO are found in the Ivory Coast, and these possibly contain, they prove what I called the last episode, the ancient aliens theory, that all life here on Earth was actually kickstarted by the aliens in the first place. And Mulder gets under some weird influence from these artifacts, and the episode ends and this season ends with Mulder being completely crazy. He's in a padded cell, kind of near to being a drooling vegetable. And meanwhile, the last shot of the season is Scully, who has followed the clues and ended up in the Ivory Coast, and she's standing next to a half-revealed UFO fuselage. So, kind of a cool final shot there.
Yeah, it's an excellent final shot. Really love that. And crazy Mulder's always good. More crazy Mulder, the better.
Crazier than usual, anyway.
Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a good finale. I've always kind of enjoyed reading about stuff like that, about how aliens colonized Earth and the theories that all kinds of whack job scientists have. Whether or not it's true or not, I have no idea. But it's interesting stuff.
Well, it's very clear that the creators of the show have also read everything related to this. But so yeah, that's the mythology of season 6, kind of in the nutshell.
Yep. So mythology episodes-wise, it's probably the smallest, at least since maybe the first season.
Yeah,
there's not a lot of it there, but it's really good what is there.
Yeah, 5 episodes I counted. And that's considering that in the last season there was probably half that.
Yeah.
I mean, double that.
Double that.
Yeah. But yeah, well, the mythology episodes were good, but all the standalones in the between, there are some really fucking great ones this season.
Really
great.
Definitely.
And lots of them.
Yep, there are lots, and therein comes my overall score for the season. So yeah, this is probably going to be shocking. Maybe not. It probably is, because a lot of people, as we mentioned earlier, have issues with this season and the next ones and blah blah because of the relocation from Canada. But yeah, I ended up scoring this one an 8.82 out of 10, which is just above the 8.6 that season 5 and season 3 had. So we have a new best season I shouldn't say best, I should say favorite season of the X-Files for me.
Yeah.
And that's now season 6. And that is because of so many strong standalone episodes in this season.
And also, one thing I noticed that there's these strong standalones tend to be in a row. I mean, there are several.
Yeah, yeah, there are.
One between the other. I mean, there's lots.
Yeah. Yeah, they kind of just go off in a streak like that a few times. And yeah, so I mean, I don't know if I'd want to call this the best season, because if you look at it from an overall perspective, it doesn't have enough of the mythology stuff to maybe be considered a great comprehensive season of the X-Files. No. But from a pure enjoyment perspective, for me, this one is now the new leader, and I suspect it will finish that way.
And another thing I wanted to say about this season mythology-wise is that I've stated several times that the mythology was at its strongest probably during seasons 2 to 6. So it's just my opinion that after that Two Fathers One Son final kind of a, how should I say it, finale, it's the way they continue it from this moment onwards is not as strong as it was before.
Yeah, I agree with that. It does get a bit more convoluted and stuff.
Yeah.
And I guess where so many of the syndicate members were such a strong presence in the show that it does tail off a little bit.
Yeah. So we said a lot about the strong single episodes, so let's get to those.
Mulder's in trouble, big trouble.
In the Bermuda Triangle,
You've been caught in some kind of time warp.
anything can happen.
I want you to do me a favor. Either you do it or I kill you.
I think there's been a mistake.
It's the biggest episode yet, with the moment you've been waiting for.
So in case we never meet again.
The X-Files, an all-new episode Sunday at 9, 8 Central on Fox.
Okay, you want to go first this time?
Yeah. I mean, all my picks are from this post-mid-season 3-episode streak, actually. And the first would be...
Yeah, I noticed that.
Yeah.
And mine are 3 episodes in a row near the beginning of the season. So,
But, these are not...
yep, go ahead.
My first pick would be Aguamala, which sees the return of Darren McGavin as the retired FBI agent Arthur Dales, who has now moved to Florida, like all retirees do, it seems. Basically, it's that there's a hurricane near Florida, and Dales' neighbors have disappeared under mysterious circumstances. So, of course, he calls Mulder because, the case has something to do with something weird. So who you gonna call?
Yeah.
But yeah, so Mulder and Scully end up there, and of course they don't find anything at first, and they are actually prepared to leave the place. And then they end up in this almost deserted townhouse where there are a few remaining people there. Probably the worst combination of remaining people that you can find. There's a burglar, there's a couple where the wife is near her labor, and then there's a militant gun nut. So probably not the best kind of people you want to have when you're kind of trapped inside a building.
No, probably not.
And of course the mysterious deaths are caused by a sea monster, basically. But, the first thing is that the sea monster is actually a pretty clever design in that it appears pretty much as water until it attacks, and then it kind of develops these transparent tentacles. And it was a really cool monster design.
Yeah, very almost, I guess, natural camouflage type effect for the creature.
Yeah. And there's a very clever kind of scientific solution to how they beat this creature, because it's made of seawater, and the reason it can attack all these houses is because all the drains are flooded with seawater. So what's the response? Turn on the sprinklers. Fresh water will kill it.
Yeah.
Really clever thing. And also the thing I like about this episode is the atmosphere. I mean, constant rain, wind, storm. I always liked, movies and anything that's set in those extreme kind of weather conditions. Call it the Finnish side of me.
Yeah, it's a very suspenseful episode. There's one shot in particular where the creature is in a light fixture above them.
Oh yeah.
That's a really tense scene. I really like that.
Well, of course, Darren McGavin as Arthur Dales is as sarcastic as ever. I mean, it's not a big part. I believe that McGavin was having some health problems already in this episode, and he's mostly kind of listening in the police scanner of the police reports of what's happening.
Yeah, I think so. There was a later episode that he kind of got replaced or had to be rewritten because of him. His medical issues.
They did a really clever way of.
They did. It was really well done.
Yeah. But I'm probably gonna cover that episode a little bit in our other noteworthy episodes segment.
Yes, yeah. I think I will add to that a bit.
Yeah. Well, also a great kind of a running line in this episode is all the nuts roll downhill to Florida. One of those classic lines that gets repeated by every character during the episode.
Very true. Very true as well.
Yeah. Not just a really great moody atmospheric Monster of the Week episode.
Yep, I agree.
Mm.
So yeah, the first of my 3 episodes, I kind of couldn't really order them this time. Can't really decide which one I like more, so I'm just gonna go with them in no order this time around, I guess.
All right.
And we'll start with an episode that a lot of people don't like for some reason, and I really can't understand why. But anyway, it's the 2-parter Dreamland. And yeah, I mean, I really don't understand the criticism towards this episode, which I'll deal with that first before we get into the episode. Basically, it seems like people don't like it because it's too silly. And what I don't understand is how this can be considered too silly, yet Jose Chung's From Outer Space, which is highly regarded, isn't too silly. I mean, they're kind of cut the same way, other than the fact that, right? Yeah. So, I mean, I don't really understand how people don't like this one. I guess it does drag a little bit where it is a 2-parter. It might have worked a little bit better as a 1-parter, but it's such a funny episode that I enjoy it the whole way through.
Yeah.
So to get to what it's about, basically what happens is this episode's all about a body switch, more or less, where a man in black by the name of Morris Fletcher ends up switching his mind into Mulder's body, and Mulder's mind goes into Morris Fletcher's body.
Yeah.
So then the rest of the episode is basically Mulder trying to uncover secrets in Area 51 and trying to convince Scully that he's actually Mulder, even though he's not in his body. And he has to deal with Fletcher's angry wife, and he watches some porn at Fletcher's. And all the while, Fletcher's kind of just enjoying his life as Mulder and having less responsibilities and not really giving a shit anymore.
Yeah.
But
one thing, you know, Fletcher in Mulder's body is doing what Fletcher seems to be doing best. So he kisses the boss's ass, kind of making Mulder the favorite of Kirsch again.
Yeah, it's really good, and Michael McKean is awesome in this episode as well.
Oh yeah.
He plays the Morris Fletcher. And I read that apparently it was supposed to be Gary Shandling in this role first, but they couldn't get him, and I can't really picture that. Now, I like Gary Shandling, but I don't know. That would seem a bit too odd for me, I think. But anyway, Michael McKean's awesome, so
yeah, but,
that was a good choice.
Actually, well, Gary Shandling kind of...
So yeah, as for how this whole thing happened, yeah, he did end up in an episode later on.
Yeah.
But yeah, timing-wise, he couldn't make it for this one, I've read.
Yeah.
But anyway, as for how this all happened, basically this like UFO device that soldiers are testing created a kind of a warp effect on reality and switched the minds of those 2 people and a Native American woman and a male soldier, and it also merged these 2 pilots into the side of a rock, which is a really cool effect, and a diamond inside of a penny, which is kind of neat as well. So eventually Scully figures out what's going on, and but not before Mulder gets arrested, but then he hilariously gets out of that by kind of bluffing that he was not really working with the FBI, he's trying to work against the FBI or something or other. And eventually everything just kind of snaps back to normal because the warp effects wear off.
Yeah.
And everything that was within the area of the effect, anything that they kind of did outside of the effect seemed to still happen. As Mulder figures out when he gets home and his house is kind of rearranged.
Well, there's a callback to that in my next week.
Yeah. So yeah, I really like this episode. Very, very funny episode. Very unique, I think, in how they handle the body switching, which is something that's been done many times in movies.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's really clever that you don't have the
Yep.
actor playing another character, but you actually switch the characters around. So when you see
Yep.
Morris in Mulder's body, it's really Morris, and vice versa. And I mean, the only time they can see their real faces is in some reflective surface.
Yes. Yep, that's right. And yeah, and those are always like I've said before, those are always kind of the best episodes of X-Files for me is when they take a known story or known concept and kind of flip it on its edge a little bit to give it their own unique twist.
Yep, yep. And there's also that classic scene where Mulder kind of strips to his underwear and he does this kind of Marx Brothers routine with McKean when
Yes.
fake mirror.
Yeah. Yeah, that was really good.
Apparently, it took like 15 takes for them to be in almost synchronized movements.
Yeah. Yeah, they wanted to try and CGI it in after, but apparently Duchovny and McKean were like, nah, screw that, we can do this. We got it.
Now it's also kind of not, the body switch kind of puts, one character into heaven and one into hell. I mean, Morris is in heaven in this new bachelor. Fuck! Sorry. Morris is kind of in heaven in his new bachelor life. As
Yep.
Mulder, younger guy with a good-looking body, and meanwhile Mulder is in hell with Morris's nagging wife and annoying teenager kids. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah, so that's where the Dreamland title comes into, I guess, for McKean's character.
yeah. So my next pick would be Monday, which if you put it in a nutshell, it's the Groundhog Day episode of the series, where there is this. The episode opens with this kind of bank heist. Cops are surrounding the bank. Skinner walks in. He says that he has 2 agents inside, and then we cut inside where Mulder has been shot. And there's a robber who has a bomb, and the SWAT team enters, and off goes the bomb. Cut the title.
Boom.
Yeah. But then, after credits, Mulder wakes up. It's it's the same day all over again, and I guess the person who is living this Groundhog Day phenomenon is the robber's girlfriend. Wait. Tongue-tied. The person who is living this day all over again is the robber's girlfriend, Pam, played by the late Carrie Hamilton in a really great kind of tragic performance. I mean, we are never even explained in this episode how many times she has lived this day all over again. Seems to be like thousands.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I really like how they make it a third party who's reliving things as well.
No.
Because obviously the go-to would have been, okay, Mulder or Scully is reliving an event, but no, go with third party and kind of turn again this concept on its edge again.
Yeah, but the way they play this is, of course, Mulder waking up every morning into his leaking waterbed, which is a callback to Dreamland because it was Morris that bought the waterbed. Now it's
Exactly. Yeah.
And now it's leaking all over the place, and that's the reason Mulder has to go to the bank because he has to pay for the damages. And well, I guess the time loop has been repeated enough because Mulder is beginning to kind of realize that something is off. And then, the rest of the episode is him kind of dealing with Pam, trying to... Did you put it on hold?
Yeah, a call came into my phone and it automatically cuts me off. I didn't know
that. Okay. It's always something.
It's always something. Fucking phone. So yeah, the last thing I heard was what was it? Mulder, we were just past the waterbed stuff, I believe.
Oh, yeah. Right. Yeah, so, the reason Mulder has to go to the bank is to pay for the damage that the leaking waterbed has caused to the building. And, so the time loop has been kind of played enough times, so Mulder is starting to realize that something is wrong, and he starts to recognize the robber's girlfriend. And the end of the show is kind of them trying to figure out how to make him remember, first of all, how to make him remember that the guy has a bomb, and also how to kind of close this time loop, and not end up getting killed in the process, of course.
Yeah, so it kind of plays on that old sense of deja vu that people have.
And of course,
and trying to make him remember.
Yeah, and also there's this great kind of discussion between Mulder and Scully in the episode about free will versus fate. It's that
yes.
if you had to live a day all over again and manage to change it, would fate kind of make everything happen in the same way all over again? So it's kind of a take on fate versus free will.
Yes. Yep. Very, very interesting episode. I really like this one as well.
Yeah. And there's just a great source of comedy from Duchovny again, because Mulder really has a kind of Monday morning from hell, anyways. Waking up in a soaking wet bed, and his cell phone is completely soaked, and then he always trips over the same shoes. It's kind of a slow burn, where you can see that Mulder is ready to kind of go completely insane, but he just says, "That's great," kind of clenching his teeth.
Yeah.
Anything else about this one? One thing I like to point out is the robber called Bernard, played by Darren E. Burroughs, who I guess anyone who has seen Northern Exposure will recognize.
Yes. Yeah, I've caught a few episodes, not something I regularly watched, though. But yeah, he's definitely known for that. And I guess the whole concept for this episode came from a Twilight Zone episode instead of Groundhog Day. But Groundhog Day is the hugely popular one, and it always kind of, I read that it always kind of pissed off Vince Gilligan when they'd say, "You got this from Groundhog Day," and he'd be like, "No, I got it from Twilight Zone, which is where Groundhog Day got it from too."
Yeah.
So
yeah. I guess that's Twilight Zone is so old now that most people don't remember it.
Exactly. So yeah, let's see. Episode 2 for me, I will go with. Well, let's stay on the Vince Gilligan train, I guess. We'll go with Drive.
Oh.
And Drive features Bryan fucking Cranston as Patrick Crump, a man who kidnaps Mulder and has to drive really fast and in a westerly direction in order to ease the pain in his head due to the exposure to extremely low frequency waves near his home. And if he doesn't do this, his head will explode, much like his wife's did in the episode's opening.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a pretty cool concept. And, it's got Bryan Cranston, so really the episode doesn't need anything else.
Mm-hmm.
But other than the fact it has Cranston, his chemistry with Duchovny is actually really fucking good in this episode. They go from being basically enemies to allies in believable fashion, and in doing that, it makes the audience actually care about Crump, who you kind of hate in the beginning of the episode.
Yeah, he's not he's really not a nice guy. He's kind of an anti-Semite, and
yep,
and just a kind of a antagonistic person altogether.
Yep, definitely. And I guess the only downside to this episode is kind of made me want to see Duchovny on an episode of Breaking Bad.
Yeah, it's kind of surprising that they didn't do that.
Yeah, they didn't. I'm not sure if they got much of anyone from X-Files over to, like, X-Files regulars over to Breaking Bad. I can't recall anyone off the top of my head anyway.
I still have Breaking Bad on my to-do list. It's kind of had to be delayed because of this watching of the X-Files now. So.
definitely something to dive into after
Well,
X-Files, then, for sure.
from one Vince Gilligan series to another. I guess.
Yep. Yep. So yeah, so Vince Gilligan wrote this one as well, and basically, if it wasn't for this episode, we probably never would have had Breaking Bad.
At
This is
least,
how he got to.
at least as
yeah.
it is.
Yeah, exactly. At least as it is with Bryan Cranston in the famous role. So yeah, the only other thing really that I want to mention in this episode is like I've already said this episode or this podcast is it takes something that's been done before. Essentially, I guess this one kind of takes a riff on speed.
Well,
and puts its own twist on it.
I mean, Mulder says it in the episode. He says that, didn't I see this movie?
Yeah, exactly. He has that line where I think I saw this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a great episode. Very, very suspenseful, and it's a lot of excitement with the whole the driving aspect and more or less a ticking time bomb.
Yeah, it's even more fast-paced than I remembered originally when I rewatched it now. I mean, it's one of those episodes that just doesn't stop. I mean, hence the title Drive, I would guess.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. It's a very I almost want to say it's not real time, which we will actually get to an episode like that shortly, but it's done in a very short time span.
Yeah.
So you're basically getting everything that's going on as it is. Kind of like when people watched the whole O.J. Simpson O.J. Simpson driving away from the police thing back in the 90s.
and of course, the reason for Cranston's character's ailment is another secret government thing. So it's always the government, and as the character even says it himself, it's you, man, it's the government, you did this to me. And it turns out to be the case.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So my third pick is Arcadia, which is well, in a nutshell, Arcadia takes place in this kind of a fenced-in suburban community where some people have been disappearing. And well, long story short, Mulder and Scully go undercover as a married couple and move into the neighborhood and try to figure out what has happened. And well, they soon the monster is kind of discovered to be it's a talpa, a Tibetan thought form, which in essence is that the community leader has willed the creature into being so that it would keep up the order and rules of the community, which are, well, the rules are, every house must look the same, every yard must look the same, that whole thing. But
yeah, very, very strict planned community rules that really do exist.
Yeah, as I understand it, the writer of the episode got one idea for this because he was moving into some building and there was this certain time that the move had to be done, and after that they got fines. And he said that the move actually cost thousands of dollars more than it should have. So that was kind of a genesis for this episode. But what makes this episode work so goddamn well is Mulder and Scully. I mean, posing as this happy-go-lucky couple called the P3s, like the dish.
Yeah. Yeah, very, very funny episode. This probably would have been my number one if you didn't pick it, but that's okay. We still get to talk about it.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of funny that they are undercover as a married couple, but they kind of tend to start acting like a married couple even when they are not outside where the community is watching. I mean, of course, Scully is complaining about the toilet seat. She's complaining about the toothpaste tube. And then we get this great kind of yikes face from Duchovny when Scully walks in with this green night lotion on her face. I mean, it goes on and on. I mean, it's where the undercover story stops and the real thing begins, it's kind of haste at this point.
Yeah, and the episode. I really like how Mulder's kind of at one point in the episode intentionally trying to provoke the monster by sticking like the pink flamingo out there and,
And kicking down the mailbox.
the basketball hoop and
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's really like, I mean, like Mulder says, let's get it on. He kind of wages.
No fear.
He kind of wages a war against the whole community rules, which really are almost fascist.
Yeah. It's kind of funny as well how the monster's this kind of like almost garbage monster when everything else in the town is so pristine and clean.
I mean, it's the whole community is built on a dump, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of a welcome change to that old thing where the communities are built on cemeteries or sacred burial grounds. It's built on a dump, and the monster is basically made of shit. So.
Yeah, better special effects than the shit monster from Dogma.
Oh, definitely. I mean, they never really show this thing in light at all.
No,
it's just this kind of silhouette of garbage that's walking around. But it's actually damn good design. Yeah, it's really scary.
Yeah,
and,
it is.
And
it's very well done.
It doesn't kill its victims in any kind of subtle way. I mean, it bashes them to pulp.
Yeah.
And then the good neighbors are always there to clean up the mess after it. Washing off the blood from the sidewalk and whatnot.
Yep. So yeah, I guess the only other thing I want to mention from this episode is that it has a line that is often repeated in my home.
I know.
And the wife loves it. This is her favorite episode of the series as well. And I tell her to get in the kitchen and make me a sandwich all the time. And did I not make myself clear?
Yeah. It's also kind of, I don't know. Yeah. I don't know if this is. I don't know if that's a kind of callback to the Bad Blood, because it seems like Mulder is doing it in the accent of the Luke Wilson character from that episode.
Oh, I don't know. I never noticed that. Really.
It's that same.
It could be.
It's very similar. So I don't know if it. Well.
Could be unintentional, might be intentional.
Yeah, it might be just
never really know.
But yeah, it's so similar sounding. Yeah, great monster of the week and great comedy episode and kind of great satire over these kind of fenced communities and their fascist guidelines.
Yep, really good. So let's see, get to my last pick, I guess. Mm-hmm. And that's going to be Triangle, which is about the Bermuda Triangle, which is something that I was always fascinated as a kid. Mm-hmm. I guess when I was a kid, I kind of thought, oh shit, the fucking Bermuda Triangle actually is stealing all these boats and shit. Stuff's disappearing, and I don't want to go there.
No.
But anyway, obviously I learned different later on. But so yeah, what happens is apparently this British ship called the Queen Anne disappeared back in 1939, and Mulder seems to believe that it's reappeared now in the present, and he's going to go check out and see what's going on with this supposed ghost ship. But what happens is when he actually gets there, he gets transported back to 1939 instead. And now he's on a ship with a bunch of Nazis that have commandeered the boat, more or less, who are looking for a scientist who can create the weapon for them. And meanwhile, back in the present, Scully and the lone gunman are trying to figure out where Mulder went. And so they're trying to track down the ship as well. Or they're going to the ship as well. And yeah, it's kind of a really unique episode in that the way it's presented is done in 4 seamless 11-minute acts that are done in real time. And they do this really cool split screen effect a few times where they're showing the past versus present and in the same location on the ship.
Yeah.
So Mulder and Scully are kind of like walking right past each other in different timelines.
Well,
So yeah, I really like that.
I think it was actually the two versions of Scully kind of crossing each other and
Yes.
each kind of
Yeah.
realizing the presence of the other.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
And and in Mulder's version of the events in 1939, everyone not everyone, but a lot of the people he's encountering seem to be lookalikes of people in the present.
Yeah.
which is a nice touch. You've got the Smoking Man and Agent Spender and Skinner as Nazis. And Skinner turns out to be more or less a double agent Nazi.
Yeah, it's kind of foreshadowing there.
Yeah, exactly. And then you have the woman that resembles Scully who helps him out, and he eventually gets what's technically the first on-screen kiss with Scully in the episode, in the series, and it pissed people off because it wasn't really the first on-screen kiss with Scully in the series.
I guess the filmmakers were kind of trying to make up for that interrupted thing in the movie.
Yeah. So that annoyed people, but whatever. Screw you guys. But yeah, so I really like this episode. It's pretty fucking awesome. And at the end, we kind of learned that it was more or less implied that this is Mulder's dream that happened, which is strongly suggested based on the characterization of those lookalikes that he meets. Because I mean, if you're going to meet Spender and the Smoking Man and Skinner, and they're going to turn out to be more or less exactly like what they are in the present, obviously something's going on there with Mulder's mind.
Yeah.
So it kind of was a dream, but it is the X-Files. You never really know for sure, I guess.
That's so cool about it that they don't try to they don't point it out directly.
No, it is something you kind of have to just kind of come to the conclusion on your own, sort of thing.
Yeah. Now those, I mean, just from technical standpoint, Chris Carter, I think he tends to do these the more stylized episodes of the show as a director now, and I mean this was a really cool way just to try and make an episode that's basically of 4 single Steadicam takes.
Yep.
And that I guess that episode took a lot longer to film than the usual stuff.
Yeah. They at least they were aided by the fact that they didn't have to build sets and that sort of thing for this one. They actually used a boat that's docked and set up as a hotel nowadays, I believe.
Yeah.
And so they had free reign of a boat for a while, and I guess a cruise ship sort of thing is what it would be.
Yeah.
So I like that.
Well,
I gotta love when they use actual locations and whatnot.
It was apparently a pretty challenging episode for the actors. I mean, I watched some of the interviews, and at least Dean Haglund, who plays Langley, said that it's kind of a challenge that you're kind of forced to memorize like 10, 12 pages of dialogue in one take, and also take care about timing.
Yeah, definitely.
Especially when Dean Haglund isn't really an actor.
Yeah. So for untrained actors or ones that don't come from theater experience, for sure, that would be definitely a new I can't think of the word.
Challenge.
New challenge for them to overcome.
But it's not easy for the trained actors either, because William B. Davis had to do his entire part in German. and as he said, he doesn't speak German. It actually, Mitch Pileggi was the one character who actually knew any German, and he was actually, I understand it, he was fixing some of the lines because they were translated wrong.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good touch too, because a lot of these, I mean, this was an insanely popular show back in the time. They wouldn't have done that. They would have just said, "Screw it, just have them talk English. Who gives a shit?"
Yeah, just use a German accent.
Yeah. But no, they went the whole way with it, and that's great.
No. It's really a technical feat, and I'm kind of surprised that Chris Carter has never directed, any other movies besides the second X-Files movie. I mean, he really has the eye for it, I think.
Yeah, he definitely knows what he's doing. I mean, I guess he's he might not be the greatest from, I guess, maybe a technical standpoint, but he has the ideas. So I think if you paired him with like a really good cinematographer,
Yeah.
You'd hit a home run.
Oh yeah. Oh, well, there's still time.
Yeah, he's not that old yet. He's had white hair for ages, but he's not completely gone yet.
But yeah, so other noteworthy episodes.
Yeah, I guess we can talk about. You mentioned you were going to bring it up, so go with the Unnatural first.
Yeah.
The the Duchovny written directed episode.
Yeah, it's basically that one alien has kind of escaped from the colonization planning aliens and is living his life playing baseball as a black baseball player in the 50s, and he comes across Arthur Dales. But this is the twist. It's not the Darren McGavin Arthur Dales. This is an M. Emmett Walsh Arthur Dales, which, I mean, the whole thing was due to, Darren McGavin was supposed to film the episode, but he got sick or something, so they had to replace the character, but they didn't replace the name. And and the kind of explanation they came up with is just hysterical. I mean, it's basically that the Dales parents didn't have any imagination. I mean, so you have Arthur Dales, you have his brother Arthur Dales. There's a sister called Arthur Dales, and there was also a family dog and a goldfish called Arthur Dales. So.
Yeah, gold.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you have to replace a character, that's the way to do it. I mean, that's that's just hysterical. And also another thing about this episode, the alien bounty hunter makes an appearance. So this Arthur Dales actually came across the alien bounty hunter once upon a time.
Yeah, it's great to see him. Basically, he's been working there now for I guess 50 or 60 years, maybe longer. Yeah, he's always been on Earth, taking care of the out of line aliens.
Yeah, covering the tracks and.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think the best moment of the episode for me is right at the beginning when the KKK are coming.
Oh.
And the mask gets taken off, and one of them's an alien.
Yeah.
Oh, it kills me every time.
No. I mean, there's a lot of that. I mean, when the baseball player reveals his alien face to Arthur Dales for the first time, and of course he passes out.
Yeah.
And it's the end of the episode. You get this kind of. I mean, the whole season is kind of filled with this. I mean, you get Mulder and Scully, and Mulder is basically teaching Scully how to hit a baseball. In the end, I mean, you get these moments throughout this season, and it's kind of the sign that the writers are saying that, okay, we're not so holding back anymore. I mean, these two guys are gonna get together sooner or later, and this season really kind of shows that it's starting to happen.
Yep, they were definitely going down that path at this point, and I think they did it a little bit slowly in season 6 because they knew they were already signed on for season 7.
Yeah, but it's Arcadia has some of that.
Yep.
Triangle had that kiss, and then there's this other kind of noteworthy episode, How the Ghost Stole Christmas, where
another great one.
No, where Mulder and Scully are kind of staking out this house where a pair of ghosts that committed suicide pact back in the 40s appear every Christmas, and these two are played by Ed Asner and Lily Tomlin, and they basically put Mulder and Scully through this kind of trial by fire during the night. And then apparently they have kind of made couples kill each other in the past, but this time they let the two go.
Yep.
Basically stating that they're not ready yet. Or something along the line of.
Yeah, they're not together yet. But yeah, another great guest appearance on the season. Season that's filled with a lot of great guest appearances, actually. But yeah, that's another good one. That's something you can watch at Christmas time, even if you don't like Christmas.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great kind of ghost story, and Asner and Tomlin really are kind of acting it up on the screen. I mean,
Yeah.
great kind of pair of eccentric ghosts who are kind of already a bit bored about this whole thing that they have to appear every Christmas to do this.
Yeah. Yeah, so moving on from that one, we have another guest star with a big name in Bruce Campbell.
Oh, yeah.
He shows up as a demon in the Terms of Endearment episode. This one's kind of like a play on Rosemary's Baby, only the demon wants to have a normal human baby instead of trying to have a demon baby. But then that gets a twist at the end as well. There's another demon trying to have a demon baby, and so yeah, kind of a bit of back and forth on the go there that's unknown to the audience in the beginning. But yeah, Bruce Campbell's great in pretty much everything. So I mean, that's another good episode there for sure.
Yep.
And I'm trying to think, was there another big name guest star in one of these episodes? There's definitely someone else this season I'm drawing a blank.
I can't remember now.
Oh, I think it was the guy who played or he might not be a big name. I can't remember his name, but the guy who played the author in Malargo.
Oh yeah. The name is drawing a blank now. But...
Yeah, I'm drawing a blank on that too. But yeah, I can actually remember reading as I was doing research for this that another complaint about this season is that there were too many guest stars, like known guest stars. Like what the fuck kind of complaint is that? Like, oh, your show is too good now and it's getting all this known talent. Like, fuck off, people. Internet nerds, right?
Yeah. You can never win with the internet.
Yep. Was there another episode you wanted to mention?
Yeah, there's one. There's the episode called Tree of a Kind, which is kind of a bookend to the Lone Gunman episode, The Unusual Suspects.
Oh, yes, yep.
Which kind of concludes the Suzanne Modesky thing that started way back when in the previous season. Which is another really great Lone Gunman story, and it also has the reappearance of Maurice Fletcher.
Oh yes, very briefly. Yes, that's right.
I mean, basically, in the previous episodes, Suzanne Modesky was kind of developing this gas that gave you the opportunity to brainwash people to do whatever you wanted, and in this episode, it has been kind of upgraded into an injection. And of course, the Lone Gunmen need an FBI agent there, so they, using a voice synthesizer, they pose as Mulder and get Scully to come with them to Las Vegas. And of course, Scully gets injected, and this kind of this gives start to a hilarious sequence where Scully is kind of, well, I mean, it's like she's drunk, but she's hasn't had anything to drink, but she's basically flirting with every man in the hotel bar, and one of them happens to be Maurice Fletcher. Kind of a nice little cameo there.
Yeah, that's a great scene. So the only other episode I want to mention is, just briefly, is Field Trip, the fungal hallucination episode, which the hallucination stuff in this is just really well done. But the main reason I like this episode so much is that fake, basically cop-out ending, where they believe they've escaped, only, oh fuck, no we didn't, we're still back there in that hole. And so then they get saved at the last minute by Skinner. But yeah, I love that. It reminded me a lot of Cronenberg's Existenz. How they kind of have the fake we're out of the game type moments in that as well.
Yeah, definitely, yes.
Yep.
And,
I love that.
I also, I mean, in the last season you had this mediocre episode pick of the human attacking trees, and I think this episode is actually the better one of those kind of those definitely. Nature fights back kind of things.
Yeah, makes a lot more sense too, because I mean everyone knows the So yeah, if you haven't dabbled in it, it's true. That's all I'll say.
Okay, I won't ask any further.
So yeah, so it's a realistic episode, kind of.
No, okay.
And yeah, and speaking, I guess, of mediocre episodes, we couldn't really come to a conclusion that there is a mediocre episode this season.
Nope.
I mean, I was trying to think maybe the transforming dog episode would be mediocre, but I can't remember a whole lot about it, but I do remember liking it. Because pretty much any episode with dogs is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, really, that's the only thing I could even think of. But again, it's just where I'm drawing a blank on having not seen that one in so long.
No. So,
But,
yeah, in short, we don't have a mediocre pick for this episode, so that's all, folks.
Season. Yep. Yep, that's it. So it's this is the best season, or my favorite season as of now. IAB is not giving his opinion on the greatness of seasons. And yeah, I guess that concludes this episode, like you said.
Yeah, pretty much. We don't want to make this overly long like the last episode, so
No. Next time.
I'm gonna take a couple of days off, not to watch X-Files, and then
Yep.
in a couple of weeks we'll be back at it.
Yep, next time we'll be going with season 7, and from there on out, I would suspect my ratings will go down a little bit, but I don't think it'll be as bad as many people think it will be.
No.
At least in my opinion.
We'll just have to wait and see.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, last words.
Until next time, just wait for us.
Okay, bye-bye.
Make me a sandwich. Sandwich!
I don't care what the weatherman says when the weatherman says it's raining. You'll never hear me complaining. I'm certain the sun will shine. I don't care how the weather vane points when the weather vane points too gloomy. It's gotta be sunny to me when your eyes look into mine. Jeepers creepers, where'd you get those creepers? Jeepers creepers, where'd you get those eyes? Gosh, y'all get up, how'd they get so lit up? Gosh, y'all get up, how'd they get that size? Golly gee, when you turn those heaters on, woe is me. Got to put my cheaters on. Jeepers creepers, where'd you get those creepers? Oh, those weepers, how they hypnotize. Yes, where'd you get those eyes? Them there eyes. Woe is me, got to put my cheaters on. Creepers, creepers, where'd you get those creepers? Oh, those weepers, how they hypnotize. Knock me out. Where'd you get those eyes? Where'd you get them? Won't you put me wise? Don't you jive me. Pay to advertise. Tell them, drop it. Where did you get those eyes?